Hello students, welcome to the class of TYVCom, and we are going to learn about internal reconstruction. This is our second topic from our syllabus. First topic we have earlier seen, that is preparation of company final accounts, and now we are going to study internal reconstruction. So during this topic, meaning and need of internal reconstruction. Section 61 of the Companies Act 2013. Then conditions for internal reconstruction, procedure of the internal reconstruction or capital reduction, distinction between internal and external reconstruction, methods of internal. So first of all, let us see the meaning of internal reconstruction. The word reconstruction itself suggests that you are reconstructing something. So in this case, we are going to reconstruct the company. That means it is reorganization of a company. When company's financial position is not sound, that means the company may be suffering from various accumulated losses. The assets might be overvalued. There may be many intangible assets may be there. Your capital may not representing the real fixed assets. So in such cases, the reorganization of the company is necessary to run the company efficiently in future. So what does reconstruction, internal reconstruction involves? It involves writing off accumulated losses, fictitious assets, overvalued assets, and all these things are done out of sacrifice of shareholders, debenture holders, and the creditors. That means these are all the claimants of the company. They are going to claim their liability from the company, so they are going to do the sacrifice, and from this sacrifice, all these accumulated losses, fictitious assets, and overvalued assets will be a write-off. Then the purpose is to give a realistic view of financial position of the company. If the company is suffering from losses and the assets are heavily overvalued, then that picture of the company is not realistic view. It is not true and fair view of the financial position. So the balance sheet must show a realistic view of the financial position to the owners of the company, to the investors, to the potential investors, to creditors, and to the society, to the government. So that's why internal reconstruction is necessary. So here the need of internal reconstruction is explained. When the company's financial statements are not showing true and fair view. Now what is true and fair view? This is a concept of audit. True and fair view means the company, whatever profit or loss company is showing, that must be true and that must be fair. The financial position shown in the balance sheet must be true and it must be fair. Right? Means all provisions should be provided, then all losses should be provided. That is fair view. And there should be accuracy of the figures, there should be accuracy of all the accounting policies. The accounting principles and concepts and conventions should be followed. Accounting standards should be followed. All these things are related to true and fair view of the financial statements. And there may be certain cases that their financial statements are not showing true and fair view. So in such cases, internal reconstruction is needed. When assets are heavily, including Intangible assets, fictitious assets, overvalued assets. Intangible assets means copyrights, patents, maybe there. Then fictitious assets like deferred revenue expenditure, share issue expenses, discount on issue of debentures. These are the fictitious assets which are shown on asset side, but those are actually deferred revenue expenditures. And some assets may be overvalued. They may not be provided for depreciation as per proper rate. So such assets might be overvalued, but actually they may not be productive. Then provisions may not be made properly for depreciation, RDD, etc. Overdue loans might be there. The loans are due for repayment, interest is due for repayment, but there are arrears. The company could not pay their loans. The company is unable to pay the preference dividend also. So there are arrears showing into your balance sheet. And your capital on the liability side is not represented by the real value of assets. When the capital is represented by the real value of asset, the company can survive in the long term. The company has long-term solvency. Otherwise, company cannot survive in long term. That's why, due to continuous losses, basic infrastructure of the company gets damaged. The flow of the operations is at stake. So that's why internal reconstruction is necessary for strong foundation to ensure the stability in future. Let us see what section 61 of the Companies Act has provided for internal reconstruction. This section says that the share capital can be altered. That means share capital can be changed if it is only authorized by articles of association. And again, it should be authorized in general meeting. It should be approved in general meeting to increase its authorized share capital. If you are going to consolidate your shares or you want to divide your shares, you want to change the denomination of shares paid up value, you want to subdivide the shares and cancel the shares, then it must be approved in general meeting with special resolution, and there must be such a provision to change the share capital in the articles of association. Capital reduction is dealt in section 66 of Companies Act 2013, which is effective from 15 December 2016. For capital reduction, you need a special resolution in general meeting for extinguishing or reducing the share capital which is not paid up. If you want to cancel any lost paid up capital, then also you need a special resolution. If you want to pay off any excess capital, if the capital is excess, you don't need that much capital and you want to repay to the shareholders, refund to the shareholders, then you have to pass a special resolution as per section 66 of the Companies Act. Further, the conditions for internal reconstruction are given. The company has to make an application to the National Law Tribunal for confirmation of reduction in share capital. If you want to reduce your share capital, you have to apply to the NCLT, right? And that application should be accompanied with what things you are required. First of all, list of creditors is required. Here, list of creditors, and the list of creditors should be accompanied with auditor's certificate certifying that this list of creditors is true, right? Then declaration by a director that no arrears in repayment of deposit and interest thereon with auditor's certificate. Again, this declaration should be accompanied with auditor's certificate that yes, actually there are no arrears of repayment of deposits and interest, right? And another third certificate is regarding that the accounting treatment of capital reduction is in conformity with accounting standards. That means whatever accounting you have done for capital reduction is followed as per the accounting standards, right? So some more conditions are there. Then after this application, NCLT will give notice to whom? To central government, to registrar of companies, to SEBI and the creditors which were in this list are, they will be given a notice within 15 days seeking their representations or objections. If they want to object for the scheme of reconstruction, they have any claim or they want to represent their objections, then they have to come to the NCLT. They have to raise their objections in front of NCLT. That is National Company Law Tribunal. This notice will be published in both types of papers, English language paper and in local languages. Local language, which local language? Where the company's registered office situates. In that area, the notice also should be published so that all these stakeholders can give their objections if they have any. Further, this notice will show the amount of reduction. How much capital is going to be reduced by the company should be noted into this notice. Now, all these parties means ROC, then creditors, central government, SEBI, they should file their objections and they can send their representation within 3 months of this publication of the notice into the newspaper. Then NCLT will discuss upon these representations and objections. The tribunal, that NCLT, will direct for hearing the objections or make inquiry for their claims, and then they will give the directions to the company to consider these claims and objections, and after confirmation that company has agreed or company has made changes into the scheme, then only the tribunal will give the order confirming the reduction of capital. Now, after receiving this order, the company has to submit the certified copy of this order to the registrar of companies within 30 days, right? That means when they will receive this order, during 1 month they have to submit the certified copy to the ROC and with all details of reduction, means how much capital you are going to reduce, what are the modes of reduction, right? All these things should be given. Then ROC will register this and the minutes of general meeting, the general meeting held by the company in which the special resolution of passed, those minutes of the meeting also will be registered with ROC, and ROC will declare that memorandum of association has been amended, right? If the company will not follow these conditions and go for capital reduction, then in such case of non-compliance, the company has to pay fine from rupees 5 lakh to 25 lakh. So it is a range. The amount may be given by the ROC. Let us see what are the other procedures for capital reduction. First of all, before reducing the capital, the company needs to ensure that articles of association has authorized for such capital reduction. Now, sometimes the articles may not include this provision. Then the company has to amend the articles of association as per section 14 of the Companies Act. Then a board meeting will be convened, and during this board meeting, the scheme of capital reduction will be approved. The scheme of capital reduction or the internal reconstruction will be approved. Right? Then a general meeting of all the shareholders will be fixed, and the notice for this general meeting will be issued to the shareholders. After that, the general meeting will be conducted. During this general meeting, they should pass a special resolution. There should be a 3/4 majority to approve this scheme of capital reduction by the shareholders. After that, the company has to file e-form MGT 14 to the Register of Company that they are undergoing capital reduction. And this e-form should be filed within 30 days of the general meeting. And the application should be sent to NCLT, that is National Company Law Tribunal, and form RSC1, and the fees is rupees 5,000. Along with the fees and the form RSC1, the application will be sent to NCLT for capital reduction. Further, tribunal will give notice to the respective authorities, as we have earlier seen into the slides earlier, that the notice will be sent to central government, register of companies, then the creditors, then SEBI. All these authorities will get the notice. Then within 3 months, their representations and objections will be heard, and after confirmation and approval, the tribunal will company for capital reduction. So this is the process of capital reduction, procedure of capital reduction. Now let us see, there are two terms, internal reconstruction and external reconstruction. We have not learned yet about the external reconstruction, but let me tell you, external reconstruction means amalgamation, merger or takeover. These are called as types of external reconstruction. And internal reconstruction includes the capital reduction, right, and the alteration of capital. We are going to see various methods of internal reconstruction. So first of all, see the difference between these two concepts. So internal reconstruction means internal reorganization of a company, and external reconstruction means it is a process of liquidation and takeover. Further, internal reconstruction does not require any type of liquidation, but in external reconstruction you require to liquidate the company and a new company will be formed. Internal reconstruction does not involve any takeover by any company, right? The company remains the same, just the capital is going to be reduced. But in external reconstruction, one company takes over another company, right? Further, in internal reconstruction, there is no formation of new company, but in external reconstruction, you need to form a new company. There are different modes of internal reconstruction. You can issue fresh shares, you can consolidate the share capital, subdivide the shares, you can cancel the shares, right? Shares can be surrendered. But in external reconstruction, it involves liquidation of older company and takeover by the new company. In internal reconstruction, the accounting treatment or the legal formalities are according to the alteration of capital are required. But in external reconstruction, all the legal formalities for liquidation of company and takeover are required. The objective of internal reconstruction is to write off losses out of sacrifices of the claimants to create a strong financial base in future. To show the true and fair view in the financial statements, you have to write off the accumulated losses, fictitious assets, overvalued part of the assets, and all these things are done out of the sacrifices of the claimants. Claimants are who? Shareholders, maybe equity shareholders, preference shareholders, then debenture holders, then creditors, right? So they have to make sacrifice for this. And external reconstruction's objective is to increase the competitive strength after takeover. When one company takes over another company, their competitive strength is increased, their capital is increased, their assets are increased, their expertise is increased, their human resource is increased. So their competitive strength is increased after the takeover. Section 66 of the Companies Act 2013 deals with the internal reconstruction, whilst Section 319 of the Companies Act 2013 deals with the external reconstruction. So these are some of the points of distinction between internal and external reconstruction. Further, these are the methods of internal reconstruction, and we are going to see all these methods in detail, and we have to solve problems regarding to these methods. First method is alteration of share capital, that means change in share capital. Second is surrender of shares, then variations of shareholders' rights, then scheme of compromise and arrangement, and then capital reduction. So there are 5 methods of internal reconstruction. Your question may include a combination of these, right? And a combination of these is called as scheme of internal reconstruction. First method is alteration of shares. First is alteration of share capital. So there are some conditions for alteration. The company should be limited by shares, or a company limited by guarantee having share capital can go for alteration. The articles of association must permit, there must be provision for this alteration, and it requires ordinary resolution for alteration. Then there are different types of alteration. First is increasing the share capital by issuing new shares. So that is simple entries are there for increase in share capital. We are going to see these entries. Consolidation of shares, conversion and reconversion of fully paid up shares into stock, and vice versa. Stock can be converted into fully paid up shares also. Then subdivision of shares and cancellation of unissued share capital. We will see these types. First is increase in share capital. Provision in articles should be there for increase in share capital. If such provision is not, the articles of association should be amended with a special resolution of the shareholders. What are the entries for increasing share capital? That means you are going to issue the shares. So first entry is bank account debit. You are getting the money, so bank account is debited. And for what purpose you are getting the money? For share application and allotment. Right? In SYBCom we have learned these entries already. Then second entry is for creating share capital. Out of this application money and allotment money, you are going to create the share capital. So these two accounts should be debited. Sometimes there may be equity share application account only, because at the time of application, the company can collect the whole amount of the share. So equity share application account debit to equity share capital. You can also do the combined entry. How combined entry will be passed? bank account debit to equity share capital. So direct combined entry also can be done here. Second type of the alteration of capital is consolidation of shares. Consolidate means what? Coming together, getting together. That is consolidation. So it means conversion of shares to smaller denomination, not too smaller denomination, into shares of larger denomination. Shares of smaller denomination into shares of larger denominations. Small value of shares, those will be consolidated and larger denomination share will be created there. It must be provided in articles of association. The face value of share is going to change, right? Earlier it may be 5 rupees share. Now after consolidating, when 5 shares will be combined, the face value is going to change. Entry: equity share capital account debit. That means existing share capital to equity share capital account. So that is new share capital. Let us see one example. ABC Limited has equity shares of rupees 10 each and decided to consolidate into shares of rupees 50 each. That means 5 shares will be combined and 1 share will be made. Now see, if Mr. Tushar has 100 shares of rupees 10 each of ABC Limited. So he is having 100 shares of rupees 10. So how much capital he is having? 100 into 10 is equal to 10,000. He is having face value of 10,000 share capital. Now after alteration, his shares will be combined. So these 100 shares will be the 10 rupees share, 5 shares will be combined and he will get 50 rupees 1 share. So how much, what is the ratio? For 5 shares 1 share. So he is having 100 shares. So now how much he will get? 100 upon 5. That means he will get 20 shares now. And each share will be of rupees 50 as the company has disclosed according to that, right? Next method or next mode of alteration of capital. This is subdivision of shares. It is exactly reverse of the consolidation. In consolidation, what we have done? We have taken 10 rupees shares and we made 50 rupees share. In this case, 50 rupees shares may be there and that will may be converted into rupees 10. Okay. So let us see. Subdivision of shares means the conversion of shares of larger denomination. This is larger denomination and it is converted into smaller denomination. What is the journal entry? ESC means equity share capital account debit. That larger denomination share capital will be debited and it will be replaced by the new share capital. The amount will be the same, only the face value of the share is changed and the number of shares will be changed. In subdivision, number of shares will be increased. Number of shares will increased. In consolidation, the number of shares are going to be decreased. So here one example is given. Kangana Limited has equity shares of rupees 100 each and decided to subdivide its shares into share of rupees 20 each. So this Miss Meena has invested into this Kangana Limited and she has 100 shares of rupees 100 each. So these 100 shares will be increased. The number of shares are going to increased. And how much they are going to increase? 5 times. So 100 shares will be converted into 500 shares and the 100 rupee share is going to convert into 20 rupee share. Next mode of alteration of capital is conversion of shares into stock, or vice versa. The stock can be converted into shares again. So shares are in round denominations. We can see rupees 2 share, 10 share, rupees 10 share, right? But the stock cannot be, they may be into fractions. Example, Mahindra Limited converted its 1 lakh equity shares of rupees 10 each into equity stock. So what will happen? Equity share capital will be debited and equity share stock account will be created here. So in this case, what entry will be done? So 1 lakh into 100 will be debited and again 1 lakh into 100 will be credited. So the total nominal value is not going to change. Only the nature of the share is going to be changed. Next mode is cancellation of unissued shares. So sometimes the company do not issue all the shares. These shares are not taken up by the public or shareholder, so such shares can be cancelled. Sometimes some persons may have agreed to take up some shares, but they have not yet taken up. Such agreed shares also can be cancelled by the company. But one thing is important, you have to keep in mind that these shares are unissued shares. So there is no entry made for their issue. So for cancellation also there is no entry required. Right? This thing for you, no entry will be there. Now let us see second method of internal reconstruction, that is surrender of shares. First method what we have seen, alteration of share capital. Second method, surrender of shares. The shareholders to surrender their shares. So what is the procedure? Shares can be subdivided. That means they can be changed to smaller denomination and then they can be requested to surrender. Such surrendered shares can be reissued. The company can reissue such surrendered shares, or the company can cancel these surrendered shares. Both options are there for the company. The board of directors will decide and the scheme will be approved in general meeting. So shareholders are going to decide their fate. This amount of sacrifice, which amount of sacrifice? These cancelled shares amount of sacrifice will be utilized for writing of the accumulated losses or for reducing the value of assets. These amounts will be shown on the credit side of the capital reduction, and on the debit side you are going to write off the accumulated losses, or you can reduce the overvalued part of the tangible assets. So what are the entries for surrender of shares? 3 entries can be there. First entry, when the surrender takes place, share capital is going to be debited because you are going to, the liability in that shares will be cancelled. So share capital will be debited and this liability will be transferred to shares surrendered account. Now there are two options. First option, the company can reissue these shares. So entry will be, again you are going to create share capital. So share surrender account will be debited and share capital is going to be created, so that account will be credited. So entry is share surrendered account debit to share capital account. And second option is there, to cancel these shares. Sometimes the company can reissue some of the shares and other shares will be cancelled. So this is the sacrifice which will be credited to capital reduction account and share surrender account will be debited. Next part or next method of internal reconstruction is variation of shareholders' right. That means there will be right of the shareholders, their liability will be changed. As per section 230 of the Companies Act 2013, there may be arrangement of reorganization of share capital in following ways. So how this reorganization will be done? The debenture holders forgo their claims so that shareholders' right will change. So shareholders have to pay the debenture holders' claim, but now if debenture holders will forgo their claim, they can make sacrifice, then the liability of shareholders will be reduced. The debentures can be exchanged for shares. So number of shares will be increased and debentures will be cancelled. That means loan funds will be cancelled and equity will be increased. Further, creditors can forgo their claim. Creditors can reduce their claim fully or partly. Then creditors can agree to receive debentures or shares for their claim. Even the preference shareholders can forgo their arrears of preference dividend claim. They can agree to accept reduce the rate of dividend in future. So if earlier your preference shares will maybe 10% preference shares may be there, now they can agree for 8% preference shares, right? So dividend rate is reduced. And equity shareholders can give up their claim of the reserves and accumulated profits. Not to here should be off. They can give up their claim on reserves and accumulated profits so that all these sacrifices can be utilized to write off the accumulated losses and fictitious assets and unnecessary intangible assets. Now last part is capital reduction. Again, different modes for capital reduction. So what is the meaning of capital reduction? Reducing the three types are involved in here. Reducing the unpaid amount of on shares held, then payment of any unpaid capital which is more than its requirement. That means excess paid up capital that can be repaid, that can be refunded to the shareholders. Then if any paid up capital which is lost, that means it is not represented by assets, then such capital can be cancelled. Right? So it involves three types. First, you can reduce the unpaid amount on shares held, you can repay, refund, and you can cancel. The procedure of capital reduction and the legal formalities we have already seen. So what is the first type? Reducing uncalled capital. It can be this way, this mode can be exercised in case of the partly paid shares, right? So if one share is its face value is rupees 10, right? And its issue price is rupees 40. Issue price is rupees 40 and company has called only rupees 10 yet and 10 rupees are remaining, those are uncalled. So company can forgo this rupees 10. This capital will be reduced and the share will be made for rupees 30 only. The called up capital or paid up capital 30 will be and it will be made fully paid up share. It reduces the liability of the shareholders. The uncalled capital is going to be written off. It also reduces the par value of the shares. In this example, premium is included. but the par value will be changed. If the company has, suppose the shares are issued at par and the share is of rupees 20 and company has called rupees 18 yet, 2 rupees are remaining. Now the par value will be remain 80. After this reduction of uncalled capital, earlier the shares face value was 20, now the face value will be made 18 and the share will be made as fully paid up share, right? Entry share capital account debit, this is previous denomination and this is new denomination, right? The share capital account credit, again the new capital will be credited and that is 50 rupee per share. Example, Rebecca Limited. Rebecca Limited has paid up capital of rupees 70 lakhs consisting of 1 lakh equity shares of rupees 100 each. Rupees 70 paid up. That means they have called rupees 70. They have not yet called rupees 30 yet. So these rupees 30 will be written off and the company will pass special resolution to reduce this uncalled capital. So the share capital total paid up amount will be remaining same, but in future this 30 rupees cannot be called because now rupees 70 itself is the face value of this share. Earlier it was rupees 100, now it is made to rupees 70. It has been reduced. The uncalled capital here in this case rupees 30 is reduced. Next part, return of paid up capital. Sometimes there may be excess capital may be there and such excess capital can be refunded. So what are the entries? So two entries have been passed. First entry is for transferring the claim to the shareholders account, right? This is existing share capital. Suppose one share is of rupees 100 and out of that 100 you want to keep only 80 rupees and you want to refund 20 rupees per shares. So this existing capital rupees 100 should be debited and retaining capital 80 will be credited and the refund will be transferred to the shareholders account. This is the claim of shareholder, right? And this claim will be settled into the second entry. So this claim is going to be settled. So shareholders account debit 20 to bank account rupees 20. So here I have made the entry only for one share, but it can be multiplied by number of shares. Now the last part of this capital reduction, three types we have seen. Writing of paid up capital. Paid up capital is return of. Paid up capital is reduced but it is not refunded to shareholders. In earlier case we have seen the paid up capital is returned or refunded to the shareholders. But in this case it is not refunded. This sacrifice will be transferred to capital reduction account and this reduced amount will be utilized for reconstruction. That means it will be utilized for writing of the accumulated losses, the overvalued assets, intangible assets which are not necessary, fictitious assets which are not helping to show you the true and fair view of your financial position. So this can be done in two ways. The face value of shares can be changed or this can be done without any change in the face value. So two types of entries are there. First is with change in face value. So the entry will be share capital account debit. So suppose here 100 rupee share is there. So 100 will be debited. Retained capital, you want to retain with you 80 rupees. The capital will be 80 rupees now, and 20 rupees is the sacrifice, and that is going to be utilized for the reconstruction, right? So it is transferred here. In the last case, it was transferred to which account? It was transferred to shareholders account, right? So instead of this, now what we have done, we have transferred it to capital reduction account. If you do not want to change the face value, the reduction itself will be sent to the capital reduction account. Okay. Now next mode, that is reduction of liabilities, will be reduced. That means there will be sacrifice by the claimants. Which are the claimants? Debenture holders, then arrears of preference dividend, then creditors will be there, right? So these are the claimants, and they are going to sacrifice. Their liability is going to be reduced. Their liabilities can be satisfied fully or partly. So what entry should be passed? Whatever liability you are going to reduce, or you are going to repay, you are going to settle, that will be debited. It may be debentures, it may be, sorry, it may be debentures, it may be creditors, those may be preference shareholders, right? So that liability amount will be debited, and whatever amount they have sacrificed will be credited to capital reduction. Suppose if there are 100 rupee debenture and they are going to sacrifice 20 rupees, so these 100 rupees will be debited and 20 rupees will be credited. If they have paid 80 rupees, then this 80 rupees will be credited if they have been paid. If instead they got shares of 80 rupees, you will credit 80 rupees shares. If instead they got 80 rupees new debentures, so new debentures will be credited. So any option can be exercised out of these four. If the liability is completely foregone, then 100 will be debited, and here also will be 100. If it is partially foregone, then the amount of sacrifice will be credited here, and remaining option what you have exercised will be credited. You may pay to them, that means you may refund to them. You can issue equity shares or preference shares to that liability, or you can issue debentures against this liability. So all these options are open for the company. Only the thing is the claimant should agree upon that. If preference shareholders are foregoing their claim of arrears in dividend, no entry will be passed, because previously there is no entry for arrears in dividend. When you can pass the entry for dividend, when you declare dividend, then only the dividend entry is passed. So if you are not going to pay the dividend arrears, and preference shareholders in foregoing their claim, they are going to make the sacrifice, but there will be no entry, right? So don't forget these things, that there will be no entry for arrears of dividend if they have foregoing their claim. If the arrears of dividend will be paid, then there will be entry, but if not paid, then no entry will be passed. Further, the company can issue fresh shares for working capital. The company may have liquidity problem, and for solving this liquidity problem, to satisfy the short-term obligations, company needs money, and for this money they may issue fresh shares. So entry is bank account debit to share capital account. This is the combo entry which is shown into the earlier slides. Now the company is going to make payments for reconstruction expenses. All this scheme of reconstruction needs some expenses. You have to appoint some people for this reconstruction process. Legal formalities are there. You have to pay these expenses. Then there may be any unrecorded liability which is not recorded into your balance sheet. Such liability also can be paid. Arrears of preference dividend can be paid. So what is the journal entry for this? Capital reduction account debit to bank account. Single entry is there. So if reconstruction expenses are paid, same entry. For unrecorded liability settled, same entry. Arrears of preference dividend paid, same entry will be there. So if unrecorded liability is there, that if you want to bring into the books, capital reduction account will be debited and the liability will be created. Or if any provision is there, that will be created. Then sometimes the shareholders, equity shareholders, sacrifice their claim of reserves, and these reserves can be used for writing of the assets or the losses. Then the reserves amount will be transferred to capital reduction. So reserves are going to be cancelled, so they will be debited and capital reduction account will be. Further, writing of last stage, whatever sacrifice made by these claimants will be utilized for writing of the accumulated losses, worthless intangible assets, other overvalued assets. So this balance on the reduction account will be utilized for this, right? So the entry for that, capital reduction account debit to fictitious assets, to intangible assets which are not necessary, to tangible assets, their overvalued part will be written off, and the remaining amount will be transferred to the capital reserve account. This is balancing figure, and that figure will be transferred to capital reserve, because all this procedure is related to your investing and financing activity. It is not an operating activity. That's why the profit on capital reduction will be treated as capital reserve and not any revenue reserve. This capital reserve will be shown into reserves and surplus account into the new balance sheet. After this capital reduction, you have to prepare new balance sheet. Now the values of your capital, creditors, debenture holders, loan funds have been changed. Your assets values have been changed. There will be no fictitious assets into balance sheet. The accumulated losses will be no more into balance sheet. So your balance sheet is now changed, and this changed balance sheet you have to draw upon, right? And we are going to see this balance sheet and some other entries into our next session. So that's all for today. Thank you very much.